Hello and welcome to the Engerati studio at Itron Utility Week. I'm joined now by Tim Wolf, who's the Marketing Communications Director here at Itron. Tim, welcome.
Thank you, Adam. How are you?
I'm very good. I'm relaxed now. I'm in the flow of things.
Good.
You seem pretty relaxed as well, so everything's going nicely here at the show. And you know, Tim, what was really interesting to me is, you remember it was your idea for us to capture that live demo at European Utility Week? And that really resonated with our audience. It brings it to life. So we've captured the water demo, we've captured the gas demo, and what would be great for you is to kind of talk a little bit about what those key use cases are. Not just for the Riva platform, but also in the context of the customers, right? Because I would imagine you guys didn't build this just on a whim. You were talking to your customers and there was a need and you've met the need. So could you just bring those to life a little bit?
Yeah, so the Riva platform, OpenWay Riva, which we've been talking a lot about here since the start of the conference, really covers several use case areas. And first and most importantly, it's a great AMI system. So it makes it possible for our customers to get in with an initial AMI business case, but at the same time invest in a platform that can be expanded to new uses and applications.
So that AMI piece is still the anchor, still the core?
Yes, but that's diversifying in the market. But still most often for the utility market, that AMI business case will provide the initial justification and impetus for the network investment. So we often start out there, but what's really exciting at this conference is OpenWay Riva is real and it's all around us. And so we heard about it this morning in the general session. Here in the Knowledge Center, we have use cases and applications that go across all our market segments. We have natural gas, we have water, we have electricity, and increasingly smart cities, where we've developed a number of devices with partners, software developers for applications, and that Riva ecosystem is really starting to gain momentum and broaden.
And that is something I want to touch on, because I feel like we've followed this journey.
Yes.
I remember a webinar that you and I did about 2 years ago where you were just talking about it, so look, we're going to build this platform and it'll enable us to work to these use cases, but have this joined up platform that we can, and I'm using my own words here, right, bolt on other use cases too, but it becomes extensible, it becomes efficient and everything. And it's great to see, walking around, that whole thing coming to life. I mean, how difficult has that actually been? Because it feels to me like Itron's taken a bit of a leap of faith and saying, look, this is how this business needs to work.
Well, it's been a busy couple of years since we first talked about this, and in some ways we've had to architect the platform and build it sort of while we're flying the plane, because OpenWay Riva was really developed in response or in anticipation of this convergence of the IoT and smart grid worlds, where we need distributed intelligence out at the edge of the network, we need reliable connectivity, we need the cloud, we need these types of capabilities to enable these new use cases. And what's really exciting about the Itron Utility Week here 2016 in Orlando is we've got real stuff going on in the booth. So in addition to the AMI use case, we're doing a lot around system integrity, particularly in gas and water, where the system is capable of detecting leaks, potentially dangerous conditions in the pipeline, or where we're wasting water, and then taking action on the basis of that analysis at the edge to address the problem. So maybe in the case of gas, we're using a methane sensor correlated with a pressure monitor to determine there's a likely leak on the distribution system, and those devices then sending a command via local peer-to-peer communications to close a remote shutoff valve and address the safety aspect of that, so the utility can then dispatch a crew.
Well, listen, I had great fun in squirting some methane into that sensor and watching it shut off.
You did that?
Yeah,
Okay,
I did that.
good.
So I can attest that it genuinely works and it's on video. But Tim, the proof is in the pudding, right? So where is this being rolled out? Where are we getting scale? Because in my commentating of this industry, it loves a pilot, right? Everybody's doing a pilot. But
yes.
are we seeing this now being adopted? Is there a flagship that we can point to?
Yes. Well, first of all, we've made our initial deployments actually in global regions in response to some specific challenges that our utility customers have in those regions. So, for instance, in Asia Pacific, a utility called Tonga Power Limited in Tonga Islands off the east coast of Australia has deployed a full OpenWay Riva system, and they have a number of challenges ranging from revenue assurance to integration of renewable energy. They're trying to boost efficiency so they're not dependent on fossil fuel generation.
Because a lot of those islands are actually lead islands, and somehow because of that, because we were writing about a similar initiative in Samoa and other places, they're kind of actually leading the way towards that 100% renewable, and that means you really do need an active grid. I mean, I'm talking electric now, but everything else must come into it. So is Tonga everything or just electricity?
Well, Tonga is in the midst of deploying the network and the initial meters, and most of what they're doing right now is sort of centered around the meter to cash and some applications facing the consumer, such as prepayment, monitoring for diversion, those types of things. But they see this tool as critical toward, addressing their clean energy, their sustainability goals going forward. We have another system being installed in Brazil at one of the utilities down there, where non-technical loss, system reliability are key issues, and some of the capabilities of OpenWay Riva really address those head on. I think what was most exciting today here at Itron Utility Week is we got to hear from Avista, which is Itron's hometown utility. They actually started Itron about 35 years ago as a company, and they are the first utility in North America to roll out at scale OpenWay Riva technology, and it's quite a story. They're getting going on their project now. They're doing the back office systems, the lab testing. They'll start putting out devices, meters, hardware in the field over the next year, and their use cases are really initially fourfold. There's the foundational AMI and the operational efficiency improvements. They see a lot of upside in terms of the outage detection functionality and doing that in a new and better way with distributed intelligence. They are also very excited about the potential for conservation voltage regulation, and controlling that voltage with a lot of confidence and precision, and that's making up over 20% of their business case. So they have a good initial business case. What's even more excited is their deployment is connected to a broader project in Spokane that addresses some smart cities needs in what's called the U District in downtown Spokane. So they're going to be looking at using that network infrastructure, using that data that it generates to not only optimize energy and water consumption in that area, but look at new applications such as streetlights, such as various types of device monitoring, and really create a more intelligent, more livable urban space.
And that is really another conversation that's kind of been bubbling along for 15 years, right? Smart cities, digital cities before that, then became smart cities, but it now really seems to be taking off. And do you think within a city that there's that unique environment because of its density to have that interplay between energy and demand side and so on, where we can really start seeing this ecosystem that a lot of commentators have been talking about really come together in a more holistic way, rather than just, it's about, what you were saying, it's about AMI, it's about truly gluing it together. So where they're trying to go with that, are they really seeing is that the Riva platform is the bedrock of everything? So, because I was interested to see a streetlight demo here and
Yes.
things like that. It's just like
Well, one thing we're quite confident about, and we tell our utility customers this all the time, is you are the forerunners on the Internet of Things revolution. You've been putting out large volumes of smart devices for a long time now, and we also firmly believe that energy and water and in managing those resources more intelligently are the initial foundational or killer apps that justify the investment in this infrastructure. But when we combine that with a open standards-based network that can readily add new devices, new applications, and we also introduce this reliable connectivity and edge intelligence processing power at the edge, then the sky really becomes a limit of what you can do with that network, and you can broaden the value stream considerably. Now, granted, the economic model, the purchase model for smart cities is still maturing. And it's going to take collaboration between cities, between utilities, between quite a diverse group of stakeholders to get together and make that happen. But we're seeing real momentum there.
So off the back of that, one of the other announcements here was it was something that maybe people knew about, but there's a lot of talk about it. It's collaboration with Microsoft with Azure, but I don't want to spend too much time on that. The real question is, again, in some of the conversations you and I have had over the last 2 years, there is this: how much of a sell to this industry is this platform play, and how much of a sell is the reliance on the cloud? Because you guys can't do this without a cloud model.
Yes.
So have we broken the back of that, or do you still have to go in and reassure and say, hey, it's reliable? And there was a big message as well where it really came out how much Microsoft spend on security. How can you guys compete? Surely this is more secure. Is that still an issue?
It's still an issue and a challenge, but I think that's continually moving forward there. So a few days ago, one of the announcements we made concerned a project with Otter Tail Power in Minnesota, and they're a fairly rural utility there, very low density service territory, and what we're doing with them is actually deploying bellwether meters at key points on the distribution system, communicating via a cellular communication network, so they're drop-in, very easy to put out there, all in a cloud services based model, and we're applying our reliability and outage analytics to help them understand their far-ranging distribution system, detect outages, guide their maintenance and investment efforts. And so by taking the cloud and a services approach to that, they're able to achieve this value almost instantly, very low cost, without ramping up a bunch of internal resources. And then as they move forward, they will have the flexibility to build that out in whatever way they may want to.
So where the use case permits, is this a shift in how you guys are going to market? Where you're saying, hey, we can deliver this to you as a service, we'll take it on, and we're no longer having a conversation about how many meters you want to buy. It's more about the outcome and the service that you want to buy, and let us worry about that. If we can do it with 1 meter, so be it. If we need to do it with 20, I'm being glib, but I'm trying to really see how far you guys are pushing the services model and the impact it may have on pricing as well.
Well, that's really a cornerstone of our growth strategy, and we'll make the case to our customers that we can deliver greater value that way. We can deliver a solution typically at lower cost than if it were on premise. We can provide as good or better security, and we can accelerate time to value. So there are a number of areas where we have both the technology and the domain expertise and the products, whether they're analytics, whether they're consulting capabilities, whatever the case may be, to bring those together and generate a business outcome. And we believe more and more of our customers will value that as they address some of the challenges they're facing in their marketplace.
And how replicable is it? Because in the US, there's we had another commentator talk about some of the regulatory environment needs to move as well to kind of accept the cloud side of things. How fast are we seeing that actor move towards laying open the foundations for this type of innovation to go out? And I find it exciting. It's a services-based model. I always tell the story about Rolls-Royce. When they stopped selling jet engines, they sold the service, and ended up actually making more money. But anyway, that's a different conversation.
Well, there's work to do there, and we're having those conversations all the time, and certainly I think the regulatory community is increasingly taking a look at what are the advantages here. There are sometimes in place limitations about how a utility can spend capital dollars versus O&M dollars, and how those are counted in the rate base. But we are working with our customers, we're working with legislators and regulatory agencies to really educate and let them know where we think the marketplace is going, and how these outcomes can best be achieved. So it's not going to the cloud overnight. There will still be a need for some utilities to keep some things on premise, but overall the trend is somewhat inexorable, and we've seen this in other industries, and there's a lot of value to be had by going that route.
So just as we sort of coming to the end of the allocated time we've got here, if I can bring it all the way back home, we're here at Itron Utility Week in Orlando, and even the event's DNA has a fundamental shift in the way it's being presented. You've got hub areas for smart utility operations and so on, and it feels very collaborative. But how hard was Itron's challenge in making this move? If you look back, and you were probably one of the first companies that says, hey, off air, we're moving towards a services-based model, and it's going to take us some time, but we're going to get there. We believe in it. How tough was it internally?
Internal change is always tough, and really ever since he assumed the CEO position, Philip Measy has been pushing in this direction because that's where the market's going, and we have brought in a lot of new talent, new people that have come from those industries who know how to do this, and we're really mixing that with our existing talent and our domain expertise.
Well, I noticed that with the terminology and the vernacular, it seems to be it's becoming more like an IT software company. You probably don't want me to use that parallel too much, but the terms,
very much so. And I had an interesting conversation or two last night here in Orlando. We had our opening reception, and we're always running around meeting new people, our customers from utilities, and I actually had 3 different people who were from our utility customers say they were in the IT department at the utility, and now they're working in metering or operations or something like that.
So that IT-OT convergence.
We're seeing that convergence, we're seeing that migration of those people over to the more operational areas as those areas converge, and those skill sets, those experiences, those perspectives are needed to get where we're going here, to a more distributed, transactive grid with more renewable energy, taking better care of our water resources, making sure our gas lines are safe and monitored closely, smart cities, building more livable, sustainable cities. That IT component is really merging with the operational component.
And just to maybe tee up some of the other interviews we're going to have as well is, where do you see the roadmap? Because you've always been great with sharing. I remember from the first webinar, we were going, well, this is where it's going to go. We're going to create a platform, and we're going to put these things on, and the meter will become a device where billing is just one app, one application of that device. I don't want to overuse the word app because it conjures up maybe the wrong image, but there's some other things. Where's the roadmap taking Itron? Can we go forward 2 years? Where would you like to see yourselves?
Well, I think what we see, obviously, as I said, smart metering is a key initial app that justifies investment in this infrastructure, and that's going to continue to be the case. We have some customers now that are sort of looking at the next generation, what's next in terms of metering technology, but again, really putting out systems that combine distributed intelligence, highly reliable communications and connectivity, cloud services, and an open architecture network so that lots of devices and applications can coexist. And the whole idea there is that problems can be solved intelligently at the edge, where a diverse community of devices, meters, grid sensors, assets such as storage or electric vehicles or solar panels can communicate and collaborate in real time at the edge to create opportunities, to solve problems, and that's really that vision of a more distributed grid that we're going after.
And the only way you can deal with something where there's this proliferation of nodes that have different characteristics is a platform play, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. On that note, we'll leave it. Tim, as ever,
thank you,
pleasure
Adam.
To talk
it was
to
a
you.
pleasure.
Yeah.
Enjoy the conference.
Yeah. And thank you as well for watching. It's another interview at Itron Utility Week. We've got loads more to come, so I hope you enjoyed this interview.